Hello and welcome to Dreamwalker Tarot. My name is Dawn, and this is the 2022 Tarot Card of the Year reading. Please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for post notifications. So in order to calculate the tarot card of the year, what we do is we add all the numbers of the year together. So in this case, 2022 gives us the number 6. And the sixth major arcana card in the tarot deck is the Lover's card. And this is basically just a representation of the energies that we will be encountering during this year. On a base level, the Lover's card is talking about relationships, right? But it is also about partnerships, balance, reciprocity, duality, and commitments. When we look at the Lover's card in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, what we see depicted is a man and a woman standing under the banner of who is said to be Archangel Raphael. And this would have been in the Garden of Eden and presumably under the Tree of Life, right? So if we know the story about the Garden of Eden, we understand that this is the last time that Adam and Eve are ever naked in front of each other after they ate the fruit of the tree of good and evil, which is standing to the left of Eve. They immediately become aware of their nakedness and then they run to cover themselves, right? So the act of covering our nakedness from our partners is what is considered to be the root of the original discontent. When we are in relationships, especially romantic relationships, there's the idea that being naked and afraid in front of someone is really is the scariest part of any relationship, or it's the scariest part of anything that we can do, is really just revealing who we are to people and asking them to love us anyway. It is like the ultimate form of intimacy and vulnerability. The presence of Archangel Raphael in this card is an indication that the love that we share between each other is is the most healing thing that we can do. The name Raphael means God heals. And as we know, God is love, and so therefore love heals. And so that is the aspect that we will be leaning into for 2022, especially when we are navigating romantic relationships, soulmate relationships, or companion relationships. We are going to be asked to really be honest and open and really present ourselves in our purest form in order to receive the purest form of love back. So what does this mean for you in 2022? You will be faced with decisions about your love life, right? So you will be in situations where you will be making a choice about staying in a relationship with someone that you might currently be in a relationship with, making a decision between two people, leaving one person to go be with another person. It could also mean taking a relationship that you currently have and making that a more committed relationship by getting married, by having children, by moving in together, sharing space and making a decision to kind of move together and move forward, right? It could also mean that you will be having some amazing relationships with people that are not necessarily romantic relationships. So you'll have to make decisions about relationships that are important to you that whether or not you want to be moving away from these relationships or whether you want to keep working on relationships that you currently have. And this could be, relationships with your friends, relationships with your family members, but also in terms of like employment. You might be looking to move towards a job that you truly love, trying to figure out what your purpose and your passion is and moving and navigating in that direction. The Lover's card is ruled by the element of air, and air in tarot is referring to logical thought and logical thinking. So a lot of this process is going to be more on a mental note. This card is, like I said, again, is ruled by Mercury. And so this is a lot of information that will be coming into you. So you will be learning about people, individuals in your life, and really thinking and contemplating on where they will stand in your life moving forward, but also what the nature of the relationship that you have with them will be moving forward. The Lover's card is interesting because it is kind of sandwiched in between last year's card, which is the Hierophant card, and the card for next year, which will be the Chariot, right? And so if you look at it in a way of tarot, the way the tarot looks at it is we stepped into the space last year of really kind of connecting with our old values and our old traditions, getting familiar with the institutions such as the church, but that card is also a representation of marriage. And so with the Lover's card being right next to that, like I said, you will have instances of marriages, people getting married, but also people getting divorced as well, right? Because we have to look at both aspects when we're dealing with the dual nature of a thing, right? So we're talking about marriage, but we're also talking about divorce. And then the Chariot card is a card that indicates moving forward with these things. So again, like I said, you will be dealing with moving forward with new relationships, but also moving forward with possibly disintegrating old relationships or old commitments. At the base level, again, we're talking about these decisions that we're going to be making, and these are not decisions that are going to be taken lightly. These are decisions that have a fundamental impact on your overall life and have long-lasting repercussions moving forward. And so these are really decisions that you're really going to have to contemplate moving forward. So 2022 has a lot of twos in it, and I feel like that is going to play a major role in this year. And so when we look at the tarot cards that are associated with the number two, the Two of Cups is really, again, about give and take. The symbol, the caduceus, is about health and healing. And so the act of giving equally and taking equally from another person, whether it be affection, whether it be time, whether it be energy, talents, ideas, is a way to nurture and grow anything that you will be kind of stepping into for the new year. The Two of Wands is the element of, passionate beginnings, whether it be relationship wise, but also about stepping into the space of looking at what you want to do, making plans for that thing, and really kind of nailing down the direction that you want to go in. It's also a card that talks about like traveling. And so some of you might be, traveling outside of the United States or traveling to another country, but also dealing with something that has to do with the interwebs, the World Wide Web, right? And so, maybe building a website for a business that you've been working on, whether you find love on the internet, through like a dating app or through a dating site. So that is something that could be playing out for some of you for this year. There's also an element of stepping into using your intuition to make decisions about your life. Again, especially about relationships and partnerships and dealing with people. There is going to be a sense of stepping into a space where you use the information that you get that not everyone else might see to make a decision about these relationships and the steps that you're going to be taking taking moving forward. And then the Two of Pentacles is really talking about balancing your finances, your emotions, and really getting into a space of harmony within yourself. So this is also about nurturing a personal relationship with yourself, but also balancing how much you give to other people and how much you take. So that is also going to be playing out this year. When we look at the 6 cards for this year, there is the aspect of tapping into what you know about love based on the nature of your childhood relationships. How was love modeled for you in your childhood? You know, and how is that kind of like manifesting itself in your relationships today? What have you learned about relationships growing up that you were repeating in your current life, whether those be good things, but also whether those are bad things that are affecting your ability to be in long-term relationships or have long-term relationships with other people, right? Because there is the idea that there are old things that are being held on to. And so this year you will be in a space to kind of really take a look at those things and move away from any type of hurtful relationships or dynamics that you have in your life, specifically ones that were kind of taught to you as a child, and moving away from those things. And again, there is the element of being very balanced in your finances and the way that you spend money. Giving and being generous to other people is always a good thing, but you want to make sure that you maintain things for yourself, that you're not overindulging in terms of spending unnecessary money or giving money away, but just being very mindful of your finances and the way that your finances affect the health of your relationships, but also the nature of overspending in terms of like a mechanism that you have kind of acquired over time. So spending money on an emotional level, like kind of like an emotional eating thing. Instead of emotionally eating, you're emotionally spending. So those are things that you need to look at. Overall, this year is a year of really being victorious, as seen here with the 6 of Wands. And so there's a lot of processing that will be happening, a lot of thinking about, what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be moving forward with, coming into a state of balance, and really healing old wounds associated with relationships, associated with our childhoods. And for some of us, that could mean getting in contact with someone that we used to know, whether it be a past life relationship or a relationship from your childhood, or someone coming back to you that you loved or are in a better space to love moving forward. This is kind of like a nod back to the element of Mercury. And when Mercury is in retrograde, we tend to have, people that the old situations or old relationships or people that we haven't spoken to in a while come back to us with the idea that we have the opportunity to revisit the situation, kind of look at it with fresh eyes and make a decision if we want to have those people or those situations in our lives, or if we want to let go of it finally. This particular card, this particular Lover's card, shows what is considered the red thread of fate, which is actually a very interesting concept in terms of fated relationships and fated connections. And so a lot of that will be playing itself out this year. I'm actually going to do a video about that next so that you can hear the story, because it's actually a really beautiful story. I want to thank you so much for listening to this video. Please go ahead again and like the video, share, comment below, and subscribe to the channel. I'll be returning with the individual signs for the year ahead. I'll be doing a reading for that next, and so stay tuned for those videos. Thank you so much for being here, and take care.